I think that either the attitude of racist America will change, or else we will have revolution.
What we see in America, the brokenness and the truth and the disillusionment, because what has happened has affected people across the spectrum. In America, the black organization was the Black Panther Party, recognized around the world by governments including China, North Korea, Africa, Vietnam, the list goes on of actual countries that respected the work that we're doing. And here we are to educate, to organize, and to create real, lasting institutions in our community. They always accuse us of the police confrontations and what have you. We never did that. The thing about it is we never ran out and tore up buildings. We didn't burn down nothing. We were organized. We were too busy feeding the kids. We were too busy feeding health clinics. So this was the real story. And this year is the 55th anniversary celebration of the founding of the party. The original Black Panther Party started in October 1966, and the reason why it came to being was one of the most systemic issues. There were several. Number one, that people didn't feel that anything was being told concerning who they were, or their history, the knowledge of themselves. It was originally the Black Panther Party for self-defense. And the concept of defending yourself against police brutality, but most important of all, understanding your legal rights. At that point in time, it was right, the conditions were right, and we see the great comparison of the Black Lives Matter movement to the Civil Rights movement. So when we want freedom, we want the power to determine the destiny of our own community. We want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. That's where that phrase came from, no justice, no peace. This is the Cameron Stanford House, a very well-known place. In 1968, right after Bobby Hutton's funeral, which was held at Ephesians Church in Berkeley, thousands of people showed up. Not only people from the community, but politicians, black artists, progressive artists, people from all over, including Marlon Brando and many other Hollywood celebrities.
The anger, the wrath, the incandescent determination of these people to get a fair shake in this country is beyond anything that you can imagine.
Black Panther Huey Newton has finally come to trial after 8 months of legal maneuvering. The 26-year-old man is charged with the murder of Oakland police officer John Frey.
I do remember walking along here during that period of time. There was no cars going in this area because every day there might be 5, 10, 15,000 people. Now across the street you see 1200 Lakeshore. At the top was the penthouse where Huey P. Newton stayed. I remember I did a tour and I had some people from Alaska Airlines and different companies, and so they wanted to know what some of those chants were, right? So I had them on the steps, and they felt the power. They were hollering, "Power to the people! Free our," you know, all the chants we used to have, and they said, we understand the power that we felt of a unison of people on the same page. I said, yes, and that's what it was. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, 1225 Fallon Street. This was an unbelievable time in history, but after Bobby Hutton's death and then Huey P. Newton, that situation went global. And the attention on America of a black man being on trial for murdering a police officer drew worldwide attention.
The sympathies will grow as we expose the decadence and the oppression that we suffer under in the USA.
One thing that original members, alumni members, elders were sick of the image of the black leather jacket and the beret, and unfortunately, You had a lot of groups across the country calling themselves the new Black Panthers, the new this and that. There's no such thing. 1970, we came out of all the black leather jackets and all that. We were dressing like everyone else in the community as we embarked upon that. So that romanticism and that issue with the guns was the FBI and the federal agencies took that and ran with it to create fear amongst people in the suburbs and even in our own community as gun-toting, dumb, crazy black criminals who aren't doing anything. Meanwhile, we're feeding their kids at a breakfast program. That's when the contradiction started. You should see people's faces when they learn the real truth about everything that we worked with, from the housing, for affordable housing, to the first senior housing in America, before paratransit, the SAFE program, the health clinics. Everything that we did was answering issues in the community, and then it spread from community to community. Everybody adapted what they saw, and then what it did, it dissolved all lines of myths, fears, because you're working together and you have the same problems in your community. You become brothers and sisters united as one people in America. And that's where we're going today. Well, the Legacy Keepers actually started June. We began to start doing work, and it was a really interesting story because it was during the time George Floyd was murdered. I got calls from black males and people in their 60s and 70s literally crying, literally said, this is just too much. All of America is seeing this. We began holding public classes on Wednesdays, and then out of that came this unbelievable group. But I can tell you the strides are amazing. And people within this network are unbelievable in their ability and talent. Medical people, politicians, progressive people who want to see change. So by us coming together on one accord, one concept, one idea, we can really make some real changes and teach the community how to sustain themselves. No more handouts, no more umbilical cords. That time is over, and this is what we were teaching when they did everything they could to stop us from doing that very thing. Clothing line, which supports the work that we're doing. It helps maintain our websites, and as we begin to grow this out, it'll also support us empowering